Welcome to the very first episode of the Peace and People podcast, where we explore global peace through data-inspired storytelling. I'm your host, and I'm so glad you're here. This podcast was born out of a deep question that echoes in different tongues, cultures, and timelines. What does peace truly mean? And more importantly, what does it mean now in the 21st century? From East Africa, the Middle East, West Africa to Eastern Europe, peace has been sought for across borders. And the urgency for it today is sharper than ever. Not just as an ideal, but as a measurable, actionable goal. In today's episode, we begin at the very root. We'll explore how peace is defined, how it's measured, and why our understanding of it shapes the way we respond to conflict, inequality, and the systems that hold our world together, or pull it apart. To begin, we need to challenge the idea that peace is simply the absence of war. That view, while comforting, is incomplete. In Peace and Conflict Studies, Norwegian sociologist Johan Galtung introduced a framework that distinguishes between negative peace and positive peace. Negative peace is what most of us are familiar with, a situation where there is no direct violence, no war, no fighting. However, this kind of peace can mask deep-rooted issues that remain unresolved. Positive peace, on the other hand, goes beyond that. It refers to the presence of systems and structures that create justice, equality, and opportunity. It's peace through resilience, equity, and inclusion. Let me put it this way. If someone falls because they were shoved, that's direct violence or classical violence. But if someone falls because the road is broken and no one's ever fixed it, that's structural violence. Now think about education. If schools are bombed, that's classical violence. But if children can't go to school because of a failing education system, that's structural too. These aren't just semantics. They shape what we measure, what we fund, and how we build peace. So when we talk about peace today, we can't afford to talk about it as one thing. We have to ask, what kind of peace are we aiming for? And who gets to define it? That's what we'll be unpacking in this episode. If we accept that peace is more than just the absence of war, that it's also about opportunity, justice, and dignity, then the next big question is, how do we measure something so complex? It's here that data becomes one of the most powerful tools in our peace-building arsenal. Data helps us make peace visible. It transforms peace from a lofty ideal into something we can track, analyze, and build. Following Galtung's framework, researchers and institutions began creating systems that not only respond to violence, but anticipate and prevent it. These frameworks led to tools like the Global Peace Index, the Fragile States Index, and the Bertelsmann Transformation Index. These aren't just academic models. They're living tools that help governments, civil society, and communities design targeted programs for both negative peace and positive peace. Another brilliant example is the Peace Accords Matrix Implementation Dataset, or PMID. It tracks the implementation of peace agreement provisions across time. In essence, it doesn't just celebrate the signing of a peace accord. It measures what actually happens afterward. Are promises kept? Are systems reformed? Are lives changed? And now, with recent advances in data science, we're going even further. Mathematical models based on complex systems analysis, like causal loop diagrams, are being used to map out the tangled web of factors that influence peace. Things like inequality, trust, political accountability, education, and even climate. These models analyze both structured and unstructured data, giving us a fuller picture of what it takes to sustain peace. But this movement, this data revolution, is still young, and it faces challenges. Not every country defines peace the same way. Not every state has reliable data. And sometimes the very systems we use to collect data are influenced by politics, power, and inequality. Still, the potential is enormous. When done ethically and inclusively, data can give voice to the invisible and guide smarter decisions. It can help us understand where we are and imagine where we could go. Because as William Kelvin once said, what is not defined cannot be measured. What is not measured cannot be improved. What is not improved is always degraded. So what happens when we finally start defining peace clearly? What happens when we dare to measure it? We'll explore that next, as we talk about the price of peace and the cost of violence. So, if this episode made you think, if you're ready to explore peace through a sharper lens, dollar and diplomacy, then this is your invitation. Join us.
Follow the Peace and People podcast.
Like, subscribe, share, and bring someone with you next time. Because peace isn't a destination. It's action sparked by conversation. And we're just getting started.